Why is the reason behind, why is that carrying too much of body fat can affect your fertility? So excess body fat is basically one of the most common cause that I have seen working with fertility specialists, knowing that this is one of the most common cause of what we call ovulatory dysfunction. So ovulatory dysfunction meaning that you may not be ovulating as regular as you hope, which makes it harder to track when is it actually your fertile week. Like I say, it all depends on how do you know. The first step is whether or not you need to ask yourself these two questions. Number one, are you currently having excess body weight? And number two, have you tracked your ovulation? So do you know your ovulating patterns? Or if not, your menstrual cycle will be a good guide to just get started. Alright, so again, why do we care so much? Is because research shows us that if your BMI is over 25, which is overweight, your risk of inability to conceive, your risk of miscarriage, it's actually a lot higher, as well as you may have implantation issue. The eggs quality and sperm quality can get affected as well. And I just want to also emphasize again, if you are someone currently who struggles with fertility problems as well as weight, it is not your fault. Okay, in my experience, I've seen so many clients come to see me, who have struggled with weight for many years. They tried so many different things, but because currently they're really catching up with the time, especially for those who are, above say 35 years or 40 years old, we're really working a very, tight time frame. So I want to tell you that is that if you are someone who battle with your weight, it's definitely not your fault and you are not alone, because seriously, there's no one at school ever told us, right, how to best protect our eggs health and to nurture our reproductive health. And no one's actually told us how to overcome the life struggle, how to find a way to really, address the weight issue, the eating issue. So I just want to let you know that you are not alone, and it's never too late to actually get yourself back on track again. But first, you need to understand the reason why, because once you understand the reason behind, it will make things so much different. We are not just losing weight because we want to improve, the body image or how you look, because we have a greater role in creating a new life, but also I want to help you to achieve your pregnancy dream. Okay, so if you imagine, our eggs live in our ovaries. Okay, so just like your home, if you imagine this, so you have a home, and then the environment surrounding your home for such that the air you breathe in every day, the neighbor that you see, the neighbors that you meet, the way you maintain, for example, your garden, indoor, outdoor, it will impact on your home, right, in 5, 10 to 20 years. The same thing as well. So if how do we apply this to the quality and the health of your eggs? Basically, it really depending on what you eat, the quality of your diet, the environment, meaning that the air you breathe in, or are you exposing yourself with any potential harmful toxin or chemical used in your everyday life. Everything that you do, we're not talking about just say the past 1 or 2 weeks, we're talking about probably for a good in the past 5 to 10 years. It all can impact on your egg quality and also your reproductive health. All right, but it's never too late to change. Okay, so it's never too late to take actions and start to putting steps in place to help to maximize the quality of your eggs. So talking about the quality of your eggs, so study shows that women who are overweight have a higher chance of risk of inflammations, which can also potentially impact on the development of the eggs. So just imagine basically the eggs will grow like a baby eggs. So we want to make it right. We want to start nurturing these eggs before it matures. And also the other thing is we now know that what you eat as well, nutrition plays a really crucial role to help to code the genetics in your eggs as well. Same for the sperm quality. So again, depending on say, you know, how much body fats currently you're carrying, and other factors as well, they all can impact on your egg quality as well as the genetic material. Okay, now the next point I want to move on to just quickly touch on. So we talk about the egg quality. What about the release of your egg? Okay, so I know that many of you here also struggle with irregular periods, or irregular ovulating patterns, right? So some of you may not even able to predict how when exactly your period will come, or whether or not you are ovulating, especially if you're someone who suffered from PCOS or PCOS, polycystic ovarian syndrome. Or you could be someone who recently just came off the pills, the pills as well, and your body need to relearn again how to balance all these fertility hormones. So you see, our monthly menstrual cycle and whether or not the ability for you to ovulate or produce an egg is basically regulated by a few crucial hormones. So without going on the details of all these clinical terms, I don't want to confuse you, but some of the key hormones include estrogen, luteinizing hormone, so LH, and also follicle stimulating hormone, so FSH. And also a few other more in terms of fertility and women's hormone. So how do you know? Basically, these hormones, if when you first went to see your GP to discuss about preconception plan or pregnancy plan, or even your fertility specialist, they will perform a blood test to understand your ovulating pattern, which includes looking at your different hormones. But if you just imagine, all this hormone is like an orchestra. So each of them plays, different instrument, and they carry a significant role. Basically, they need to work together synergistically to really, play the beautiful musical show for you, right? But if one of the players decided to play other tune, for example, the violin and versus the piano players, they decided to play completely different tunes. Can you imagine how, the music will sound, right? So the same thing as well for your body hormone. It needs to work synergistically. It needs to be working to strive the balance, okay? So again, linking back, why is the excess body fat matter in this case? It's because when you have excess body fat now, a lot of you may also think that body fat may just sitting in your body, not doing anything, not burning any calorie for you. But in fact, it actually does produce estrogen, okay? So which means that for women, and including men as well, okay, if you have too much of body fat, it can also lead to higher estrogen production. Okay, so you may ask, Kevin, is this good or is this something bad? So basically, you need to understand is that during menstruation, your estrogen level basically will drop at their lowest, and this is exactly when your body will send a signal to your brain, right, to activate, to produce the follicle stimulating hormones, the FSH hormone. So your body actually begin to nurturing the baby eggs in order to prepare the release of your eggs, right? But if you have a chronically very high level of estrogen, what it does is that your body isn't getting that signals, right, to nurture or to release the baby eggs. Hence, it does affect your ability to ovulate. All right, so I hope it makes sense to you. And this is why for women, so we know that from research, for women who has a higher amount of body fat, are up to 3 times more likely to experience irregular period, less likely to have a regular ovulations. Okay, and what we know so far is that about 30% of infertility is also thought to be caused by the estrogen imbalance. That's why, you know, when we talk about nutrition, when we talk about what to eat, how to improve your fertility, quite often, me personally, I will also look at all the blood tests that you have done with your doctors, or any scan, because it's essential. We don't just simply give you a diet plan to follow. I have to first understand at your individual level, what is it, what is the root cause of the problems, right? And again, everyone is different. Now, before we move on to the next point, I just want to also mention that for men, if your partner also carry excess weight, it can affect the quality as well as the health of the sperm too. So it's not just women's, okay? So please let your partner know as well. If they currently carrying excess weight, it's really important that they also start to make some changes to their diet and to lifestyle. So research suggests that for a man who is just 10 kilo overweight, has actually a 10% reductions in fertility. And the excess weight can also decrease the sperm quality, affecting the quality, not just the sperm quality, but also the DNA coding of the sperm, as well as decreasing sex drive as well. So for couples who are trying to conceive, both you and your partner are essential to really work out how to be together to improve your diet, and also some lifestyle changes. That will be the first step to help you to get started when looking at fertility diet. Alright, now my last point for today is, I know we talk about a lot emphasize on excess body weight, but I just want to also share with you that the other concern when we're looking at fertility diet point of view, being underweight is actually not ideal as well, right? Because if you have a low percentage of body fat, basically it will also affect the productions of your fertility hormone, making it harder to ovulate as well. And I often also see clients, say for example, especially who are female athletes, or someone who has had suffered or currently suffers from eating disorder, they might have a very low level of body fats, and the doctors will also refer them to see me to help them to restore ovulations and to improve the quality of their diet. So it's an extremely challenging for this group of women, as it can be quite confronting just thinking about putting more body fats on, and again, it can take as long as 12 months till you see the result, till your menstruations or ovulations is restored. So we are not just talking about being overweight, but also underweight. It's not ideal, okay? So our goal is to help you to really achieving the optimum way to help you to increase the chances of conceiving. All right, so that's it for me for today, the live teaching class. I hope you enjoyed today's sessions. Now, what you can do, I suppose, to sum up all this step is, like I mentioned before, so just quickly recap what we